Welcome to GBO Hawai'i, the Green Economy board game. This video will tell you how to play the game, how play proceeds from turn to turn, as well as how to win the game. If you haven't yet watched the video on how to set up the board, go ahead and watch that one first and then come back to this one to see how to play the game. But once you've got it all set up and you've rolled to see who goes first, you can now proceed with the video. The beginner game, once you get the idea of it, should take no more than 25 to 45 minutes for 2 players, 30 to 60 minutes for 3 players, or 45 to 75 minutes for 4 players. The game comes with written rules, so if you need clarifications, you can always refer there. Please note that the instructions that come with the game are those for the advanced rules. Written rules for the beginning game are available for viewing and download at gbohawai'i.com. In addition, we have an FAQ page where you can also find any additional information you might need for gameplay. Alright, let's get started. Each player, when starting their first turn, gets a chance to survey the field. They can look at available businesses and the cards in their hands, and then decide which county on the map they're going to start their player piece in. If you have the human resources that match up with one of the available businesses in a particular county, you might want to just set up shop there for your first turn. You move county to county a fair bit during the game, so don't sweat this decision too much. Just try to get at least one business started in your first turn, if possible. To start your turn, you roll the dice and move that many spaces with your player piece that's on the outside track. The player piece on the map doesn't move at all based on dice roll. They move for other reasons. More on that in a minute. A player may then invest in some businesses by matching up resource cards and investment money with available businesses in the county where their player piece is. For instance, if a player wants to start this garden supply store in Kauai, their player piece must be in Kauai County, and they must have the resources listed on the card. In this case, the player would need a biological entrepreneur card and a green collar worker from the resource deck, plus 75K, K being short for 1,000, in investment money. But what happens if you don't have exactly the right human resources? First, you can try trading with other players for their card you need, but you might expect to pay a hefty price depending on how nice other players are feeling today. You may also, at any time, trade 3 resource cards from your hand into the resource card deck in exchange for 1 off the top, and you may do the same for chance cards at any time. Keep an eye out for the wild card, too. You can use a green MBA to serve as any other resource that you need. In addition, any entrepreneur card can be used as a green collar worker. The instructions say you can also hire the human resources you need at any given time, but that's just for the advanced version of the game. In the beginner and intermediate level games, you can't hire employees. So once you invest in this business, it pays you a dividend every turn hereafter. In this case, you receive 8K from the bank every turn from this garden supply store for every turn after the one in which you started it. Strategically, you'll want to start thinking about your environmental offsets. In this case, the garden supply store helps offset 2 cans of unhealthy processed imported food. Keep an eye on what offsets you're getting throughout the game as you calculate how to win, and watch what other players are accumulating too. As soon as someone invests in a business, another gets drawn from the business card pile to replace it and is immediately available for investment, so that 8 businesses are always available for investment throughout the game. You can sell a business that you've invested in any time during the game. You will receive 50% of your original investment back from the bank, but you lose credit for the jobs created and environmental offsets earned. A strategic tip, this is not your best move, but sometimes in a pinch, it's necessary. During your turn, you can also play chance cards. There is 1 chance card that you can play anytime, but otherwise it's only during your turn. Chance cards are just extra strategic bonuses that may help you achieve something good during your turn, so use them wisely. There is 1 chance card that you can play at any time, and it's this one. It's the Kahuna card. It's kind of like a crystal ball. The first bullet on this card doesn't apply to the beginner game, so just use the last 2 bullets. You can either veto an event as it comes into play, or you can go through the event cards that are not yet flipped over, read them, and replace them exactly as they were. In this way, you get to kind of predict the future and plan your businesses accordingly. The maximum number of chance cards you can have in your hand at any given time is 3. So if you have 3 in your hand and you land on a space that gives you a chance card, then you don't get to take your chance card. If someone else lands on a space that says everyone draws a chance card and you have 3, you still don't get a chance card. So you just have 3 in your hand at any given time, so you use them as you need. You may also need a permit to start some businesses, typically construction and large-scale projects. If so, you need to pay $10,000 to apply for the permit, then wait a turn and roll 1 die. If you get a 1 through a 5 on that roll, your permit is approved and it may be used immediately. To indicate the difference, after it's approved, just flip the card over to the approved permit side of the card and put it on your section of the table. If you roll a 6, your permit is delayed for another round. There are other ways to get permits, and these will come up throughout the game, so keep an eye open for opportunities. At the bottom of several of the business cards, you'll see some notation about drawing resource cards when someone else starts a business that sort of helps that business that you have. This is for the advanced version of the game only. For the beginner and intermediate versions of the game, just go ahead and ignore the green field at the bottom of those business cards. Finally, you will have to move around the state of Hawaii's 4 main counties throughout the game to take advantage of the best investment opportunities. For instance, if your player piece is currently on the Big Island, Hawaii County, and you spot an investment you'd like to make in Kauai County, you can use one of your Outrigger cards at any time to move over. There are a few other opportunities to move as well, but the Outrigger cards are your main options. At the end of your turn, simply draw one resource card to signal to everyone that your turn is officially over. Once you've drawn that resource card, there's no going back and saying, "Oh, but I forgot, I wanted to apply for a permit." Once you've drawn that resource card, your turn is officially over, and the next player's turn has begun. The first player to reach a Policies and Events card space stops, no matter what their role, at that space and flips over the event card. Immediately put that event card into play. In this case, if you draw the card that says Biotech Company sues local farmer for allegedly stealing their genetically modified seeds, everyone on the board has to band together to fight off the lawsuit if they have a sustainable food business. So whatever the event is, players act upon that event, and then the event itself is discarded. In the beginner game, there are no initial public offerings. We removed the initial public offering cards from the chance deck. There is one space on the board in the bottom left corner that is also an IPO space. If you land on this space in the beginner game, just treat it as a blank space. Oh, did we mention the oil industry? Yeah, they're not super happy about this whole sustainability thing. Last year, Honolulu County tried to get a 5-cent fee levied on plastic bags just to raise money to help us clean up all the plastic bags that are caught in our coral reefs, since that sort of thing hurts tourism, our main industry. The oil lobby didn't agree and absolutely descended on Honolulu, effectively bribing public officials by paying them quote-unquote consulting fees, and eventually defeated the legislation. In this game, the lobbyists go wherever the oil industry sends them, generally work against the green economy in any way that they can, including spreading propaganda, and of course doing what they do best, lobbying the government to keep plastics and other petrochemical products very much in the public sphere and fight against any alternatives. In the beginner and intermediate level games, whichever county the oil industry lobbyists are in, businesses that have started there pay no dividends. So if you have started a garden supply store in Kauai, for example, and the oil industry lobbyists happen to be on Kauai, for each round that you're supposed to get a dividend from this garden supply store of $8,000, you get nothing. Nothing, that is, until somebody, maybe you, moves the oil industry lobbyists to another county. Several cards or spaces along the board allow you or force you to move the lobbyists. Seeing as how you're getting no dividends where the lobbyists are, try and keep them away from your businesses as much as possible. Only the person who lands on that space or turns over that card has the right to decide where the lobbyists go. There are no bribes in GBO Hawaii. Only the businesses that you have that are in the county where the lobbyists are at that moment are affected. All your other businesses on other counties are not affected. And oh, just as a quick aside, the oil industry lobbyists make a great costume. This is from Halloween 2011. So, to briefly sum up on what you do during your turn, Step 1, you take dividends from every business that you own from previous rounds. Remember, there's no dividends for any business in the same county as the oil industry lobbyists. Step 2, roll your dice. Step 3, move one of your player pieces along the outside track. Step 4, take the action of the space you landed on. Next, optional but highly recommended, use money and resources to invest in businesses. You may also use chance cards to improve your fortune. You can also use your turn to apply for permits, and certainly roll on any permit applications that you have from previous rounds to see if they're approved. You may then also move to another county using an Outrigger card and invest some more if you find a business that you'd like to invest on that island. At the end of your turn, draw a resource card, and you're done. Play continues until one player crosses the POW, Hawaiian for finish, line. The person who went last to start the game always takes the last turn of the game, regardless of who crosses the POW line first. In essence, the only thing you have to remember is that everyone has an equal number of turns during the game. Beyond the POW line, any player that lands on one of those spaces follows the instructions on that space and typically gets a bonus of one sort or another. But if you go too far, you end up in the ocean, you don't get any eco credits or bonuses. As mentioned at the beginning, the best triple bottom line return on investment wins the game. Now that the game is over, it's time to add up your score. You'll be adding the number of green jobs created, the number of eco credits, and the amount of money that you have to give you the people, planet, profit score for your game. For the eco credits, simply add all the dump trucks, barrels of oil, and cans of quote food that are in the red circle with a line through it on all of your investments. Rank each player, so if one player offsets the most barrels of oil, they receive a first place ranking in that category. After you've ranked the eco credits, do the same for jobs created. Add all of the human resource icons on your investments, both from green hard hats and from entrepreneur icons. For your financial return, you'll be adding all the capital investments that you have plus your liquid capital. In other words, add up all the investment costs, mark I on your business cards, plus your cash. Again, rank each player once you've added up everything. The winner of the game is the player with the lowest total rank. In this case, the monk seal did best in dump trucks, green jobs, and money, second best in barrels of oil, and third best in cans of processed food, resulting in a total score of 8, besting the humpback whales 10 and the koa trees 11. And that's it! When and if you're ready, you may decide to move on to the intermediate level of the game or the advanced level of the game. It's entirely up to you. And there are videos on those levels of the game as well to help you figure out how to set up the board and how to play. We hope you enjoy many, many games of GBO Hawai'i with friends and family and get excited about the world of sustainability. Trust us, sustainability really is fun and very fulfilling in terms of a career. If you like the game, definitely become a fan on Facebook, where we'll be doing contests, promotions, giveaways, announcements, and other GBO Hawai'i related information. Thanks for enjoying GBO Hawai'i, and let's build a greener world.